following contains an opinion on the internet. Viewer discretion is advised. Put on your anti-opinion sound mufflers and flip to page 43 of this book is a safe space. Now that we are ready to see an opinion on the internet, let us proceed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, the Arbiter, and my mouth is stuck, isn't it? I'll have to fix that. But, in the meantime, why don't we get the call started with my good friend and co-host Rick, and we can get rolling, huh? Where did I put Discord? Here we go. Hello!
Hello there.
So, bear with me, I am eating my garlic and rosemary potatoes as we do this. I got hungry.
That's okay, I got myself some ice cream.
Oh, nice! What kind of ice cream you got there?
This is a special Friendly's flavor called the Brookie Batter Batch.
Never heard of it before.
It's basically like chocolate chip cookie dough, but also has pieces of brownie and hot fudge.
Dude, that sounds awesome!
Oh, it's incredible.
Did you know that the human body can sustain itself for years on a diet of simply milk and potatoes?
Interesting. Does ice cream and french fries count by any chance?
No.
I figured not.
But yeah. So, not tomorrow, but Tuesday marks the end of my time at Stanford University as an intern.
So interesting. What's your next big step after that?
I've got to find more work. I fumbled the interview. I fumbled the interview with Qualcomm hard on Friday.
Oh, what happened? Oh, was it those questions that kind of tripped you up?
Yeah, I was out of my depth with the questions they asked me. It was like managerial stuff, and I'm like, I got no management experience. I don't know how I would manage a team of like 500 people trying to contact me at once.
Whoa. Was this like a senior level position?
No, it was engineering technician. I don't know. But apparently engineer technicians get a lot of communications from other people.
Okay, so this sounds more like a like an assist type role where you're like helping other people with like their stuff.
Yeah. Part of the job would be carrying things from one place to another, and I was like, I can do that. But yeah.
I see. Well, I will admit the job market's definitely a lot tougher than I think many were expecting. But, you know, the only solution to go is to keep on trying. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
And now, of course, you should be smart about it. Find the best ways to go about that. But no one's gonna walk up with a job offer. You gotta like put in the effort for that.
I've been job hunting since like October or September.
Of last year?
Yes.
Oh, mine started a little bit before that, like the month before. Because I was laid off in like late August, but I didn't really start till like September.
Yeah, that's too bad. So I've been on kind of a Harry Potter kick lately.
Oh, what started this?
I don't know. It just the impulse just got into my brain one day. It's like, I feel like Harry Potter today.
What was the last time you saw Harry Potter?
Well, the last time I saw Harry Potter was Deathly Hallows in theaters when it came out, Part 1. Never got to see Part 2. Just never got around to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the Harry Potter audiobooks that I have in my library. Because I don't have all the movies. And the movies leave some shit out.
Well, of course, it's an adaptation. They can't cover everything.
Yeah. Did you know Goblet of Fire's director wanted to have the dragon burn down the Forbidden Forest? Which, if you don't know the Harry Potter lore, there are some key events that take place in later books in that area. So, Yeah, whoever directed Goblet of Fire was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but they did scrap that storyline. They didn't have to,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully. Precisely because it contradicted the later books, and J.K. Rowling knew at the time had the final say on like how film adaptations went, and when that was proposed, he's like, "No, that's stupid. It's
Yeah.
going to be important later." But yeah, actually, the interesting enough, there is going to be a TV show that's coming to Max that also adapts the Harry Potter series. But I think with this format, it would make it so they could be able to adapt more of the book by, because rather than having just one movie, they can spread the story across several episodes. And I think the plan is basically just to do one show, but each season would cover a different book in the series.
Okay, that's actually a pretty good idea. I wonder who they're going to get to play Harry, though. Daniel Radcliffe did a great job.
Oh, he did. He's definitely going to be a tough act to follow.
My favorite, one of my favorite things to come out of Daniel Radcliffe is the picture of him in a bathrobe holding two guns, looking, like, staring at the camera with a manic expression. Have you seen that picture?
Yeah, it's from that movie where, like, the guy just wakes up with, like, guns glued to his hands. It was so weird.
Wait, that's what happens?
Yeah,
That's,
he just wakes up. It's like the guns got, like, magically woven to his hands or something. And so now he was trying to, like, get them off.
that sounds like a meme movie concept.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. But consequently, I've been playing some of the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy, because for the longest time, it ran like shit on my computer. And you've heard my specs. I have the only thing that's really, like, that only really needs an upgrade is the graphics card. I'm rocking a 3090, which that's only, like, what, a year behind what the best graphics card is.
Mm.
And I would get stuttering slowdown and lag in certain areas. It was bad.
Mm.
So I've been playing through it as, one, because I'm in a Harry Potter mood, and two, because I want to see if it's good for streaming at this point. And I don't know. It still causes my computer to heat up, though not to the same degree that Jedi Survivor lit my CPU on fire.
What an immersive experience.
Yeah.
Man, I wish you got that on camera. That would have been hysterical. Especially if you got, like, your actual face and the scene just lit up like a bright orange.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But Rick, I have a question. How familiar are you with Harry Potter? Did you do Harry Potter when you were growing up, or were you a no Harry Potter allowed household?
Oh no, I read the entire series.
Oh,
But it's
nice.
been so long since I read the books and seen the movies, so I don't remember much of what happened.
Yeah, me either. My mouth was agape when Mom gave me her blessing to watch Harry Potter when I was a teenager. I'm like, Mom, for years you told me Harry Potter was evil and witchcraft. What the fuck happened?
I guess the effects of the satanic panic wore off of her.
I guess so.
Also, you know what's crazy though? Did you know that people are trying to deny that the satanic panic ever happened?
Why must people be retarded?
I will say this, if you're a young person who just was born after the panic, I can't blame you for not knowing, because by the time those people were coming up, it just wasn't an issue anymore. But for the people who grew up during that time, it happened.
And it lasted into the fucking 2000s. It started in the 80s. It was a 2-decade moral panic. That is some industrial strength retardation right there.
Which do you think is worse though, the satanic panic or the trans craze?
Oh man. They're like equally retarded, but on opposite sides of the political spectrum. I would argue that satanic panic people are just as retarded as trans people.
Well, who in turn are just as awful as communists and fascists for that matter.
Yeah.
And by fascists, I don't mean Republicans, I mean actual fascists.
Yeah.
Despite what some people may say, those are two different things.
You know what's really funny? You can be fascist
What?
without being racist. It is possible. I've read some fascist literature, and it's basically state worship, but nowhere does it explicitly say that you have to be racist to be fascist.
Well, I think the racist thing is more so specifically ascribed to Nazism,
Yeah.
because I believe you look at Italian fascism, they don't have that same racial component to it.
Well, not at the start. There is an active Italian fascist party that does do racism today.
That does or doesn't?
That does.
Oh,
Hmm.
interesting.
Although they're funny in their racism in that they basically want everyone who isn't Italian out. So
I mean, considering what's been going on
they're
throughout
kind of
Europe.
equal opportunity assholes.
I mean, if you see what's been going on in Europe for the past couple of years,
Hmm.
I'm not saying racism is okay, by the way, but I wouldn't say it's completely unjustified.
That's a very interesting take. What led you to that conclusion?
Well, basically, because of all the situation caused by the migrant situation, with millions of migrants from throughout Africa and the Middle East pouring into the region, many of whom are very low skill, only really come for benefits, refusing to assimilate, and just causing so many problems. Combined with the fact that the governments of these nations are not only allowing this stuff to slide, but punishing native peoples for simply speaking out against it via social media, especially in places like the UK, where a man literally went to prison for like 5 years for mean social media posts about migrants, but a guy who raped a child was only in prison for 5 weeks
They're
and got out like 2 weeks early.
God help us all.
So yeah, I think what's probably going to happen in Europe is either two things. One, if the migrant situation gets too hectic, it'll become sort of like the Middle West, where it'll basically be like the Middle East, but in Europe, and that they'll become the dominant people on that side of the country. I mean, sorry, that region. Or two, we will see nationalist uprisings across Europe where the native peoples have enough, they arm up, and they basically massacre all the migrants in their countries, either by kicking them out or just executing the ones who refuse to leave. And then we could see something akin to sort of like a cross between like Bonaparte's France and Nazi Germany, but throughout Western Europe.
Yeah, I I suspect the same thing actually.
Like, I know America has an issue with illegal immigration as well, but I would argue that what we have on the border is nowhere near as bad as what's going on in Europe. Because at least over here, we have enough people that are fighting back against this to where, starting tomorrow, we're going to be on the path to start deporting a lot of those people. But unfortunately, for our brethren in Western Europe, they don't have that same luxury.
I'm just
And
gonna out
so,
and say it. Generation Identitaire did nothing wrong.
oh, is that the one that like wanted to like the anti-migrant group? Was that what that was?
Yeah. It was a anti-migrant youth group, who had the end goal of retaking Europe, quote unquote, through protest. And to my knowledge, they haven't actually done anything violent. They just have protested, and they're a dissident group.
Yeah, I know that group because one of the YouTubers I used to follow actually married the founder of that movement.
Wow.
Yep, I don't know what happened to them. They kind of went off the grid for a couple of years leading up to COVID. So I don't know what happened. Uh, hopefully they're doing okay.
Yeah, we get some spicy takes on this show sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, for those who are confused, who might not be so sure, we do not condone racism on this program.
Unless
All we
you're
are
Omen.
simply doing, yeah, all we are simply doing here is pointing out the reality of the situation across the pond,
Yep.
as well
Although,
as the things that could happen if the situation continues to go as it is right now. Now, I will say this though: if the European leaders grow a spine and start to push back against this, that could prevent either Nightmare Scenario 1 or 2. But if they don't, and I fear they might not, then we will see chaos unfold. Now, what
well,
kind of chaos? That remains to be seen.
I think reform is on the way. because Italy actually doesn't have the problem of of arresting its citizens for speaking out against the migrants.
Oh, that's right. You just had a new leader.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Count Dankula went to Italy on vacation, and a tour guide was talking about how beautiful Italy was, and how the immigrants wanted to ruin it. And Dankula's wife was just giving him a look of "Don't you fucking start! Don't you dare!" And Dankula was just looking at the tour guide approvingly and smiling smugly at his wife.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That was some years ago, because Dank's divorced now, unfortunately.
Oh, what happened?
Don't know. Don't know. He didn't go into the specifics, but he's been making some very positive changes in his life. Dude's been working out, been cutting off pornography, going to church. Dankula's a good dude.
He wasn't doing that before he got divorced?
Evidently not, no.
Oh, that might explain a couple things. Well, anyway, actually, speaking of, like, leaders, do you think that Marine Le Pen will have a chance of, like, becoming the leader of France, or do you think that's too far-fetched?
Yeah, I could totally see it. Because Macron is a shithead. He's got, like, super low approval ratings. If you'll remember the Yellow Vest protests...
Those ones, yeah, that was wild. Was that before or after the Olympics?
That was pre-COVID. And his approval ratings haven't improved from what I understand. So Le Pen will probably win the election in France. And then AfD, the German Reform Party, has a majority in the German parliament. Now they're still being persecuted by the establishment, but it's not working.
Yeah, if it's anything like what happened to Trump here in the States, it's probably just backfiring on them more often than not.
Yeah. They actually banned AfD, and it didn't work. It did not fucking work.
So they banned their cheap political rivals, and they're surprised it failed?
Yeah.
Man, this is kind of like how, like, the German government tried to ban the Nazi Party back in the 1920s, and then they took over the country.
Oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because they tried to stop the Nazi Party from rising, but then once Hitler became the leader, not only take over the country, they purged all their political rivals. So they kind of succeeded where their enemies, failed.
Yeah.
I tell you, you can't just oppress ideas. If you disagree with someone, you have to debate it and fight against it. That's how you win. If you try to censor people, you end up making your opponents look right by proxy.
I mean, I guess. Although the Communist Control Act is still actively in legislation. It's still on the books. We could shoot communists if we wanted to.
Wait, that's here?
Yes.
Well, what the heck? What have we been doing all this time? Do you have any how many communist countries or communist? Do you have any how many communist parties are in this country across the various states?
I know, right?
I just went to Wikipedia, like a list of political parties. Now I know Wikipedia's not a reliable source. I just use it for like broad overview stuff. And I was just looking at the political parties by state, and there are so many states in the country that have like multiple communist parties. They're all third party. I'm like, if all these communist parties just came together, they could literally form a third political party.
Yeah, but the Communist Control Act of 1954.
Has it ever been repealed? You said it's still the law, right?
Yeah, it's still on the books.
Now the question is, when was the last time it was enforced?
Fuck if I know.
Because the fact that we have so many communist parties...
Oh, shit! Yeah, this was... Oh, no, never mind. I was about to say, I thought, this was signed into law by Dwight D. Eisenhower. I got him mixed up with Lyndon B. Johnson.
you got General MacArthur mixed up with
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Johnson. That's what I'm saying. Oh,
Dwight
sorry,
D. Eisenhower. Yeah.
So you got General Eisenhower mixed up with Ding Dong Johnson.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I mean, how funny would it have been if Dingus Johnson did sign the Communist Control Act, though? But no. Yeah.
Uh,
Communist Party, a criminal act, and stipulated that all party members would be sanctioned with up to $10,000 fines or imprisonment of 5 years, or both if they failed to register with the U.S. Attorney General as such. Additionally, according to the third section, the Communist Party would be deprived of the rights and privileges and immunities of a legal body.
Yeah, and you find it interesting how like we didn't get tough on communism. We got started getting tough on communism immediately after the end of World War II.
Yeah, and rightly so.
Yeah, they were probably the next big deal after the Nazis. But then again, I would argue the only reason Nazi Germany got as big as it did was mainly not so much because they were strong, but it's because a lot of the European powers who could have stopped them just kind of either appeased them or just sat back and let them do it. Like, they were generally worried that France would come in and wipe them out, but France never advanced, so they just took the empty land.
Yep.
What a fascinating turn of events. Yeah, so that's just there. Also, I don't know if we talked about this last week or not, but it just occurred. Oh, I think we did on the Star Wars, not on TBC. But it's fascinating how, for the first time in over 40 years, we essentially have a clean slate on both sides, where we don't have a major political family from either side riding, and it's basically just a who's who on the next front. Now, granted, at least the Republicans, it's looking like because of Trump's popularity recently that he's been gaining, that J.D. Vance, for better or for worse, has become the presumptive nominee. Where, so if things go according to plan, if Trump continues to maintain his popularity, if he fulfills his promises, and things go really smooth, J.D. Vance is a really great shot at becoming the next Republican nominee. But, something goes awry, if it doesn't go as smoothly, Trump somehow gets unpopular again, maybe somebody else takes the reins, who knows.
Yeah, J.D. Vance is all well and good, but you know who I want to be the nominee in 2028? Who's that guy who has Deus Vult tattooed across his chest?
I have no idea. That could apply to a lot of people.
He's, I think, the defense secretary right now.
Pete Hegseth?
Yeah, him!
Ooh, he'd be an interesting choice. I don't know if he wants a job, though.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, it also depends on how long he runs the thing. Because if he's here for the entire Trump term, I don't know if he'll run. But if he works for a bit and then kind of leaves a little early, I could see it using it as sort of a gateway to a potential presidential run. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah.
Now, at least the Republicans, we have a general idea of who might lead the party, depending on how things go. Now, the Democrats, on the other hand, those
cooked.
guys are in trouble. They're in trouble.
They are cooked like a steak dinner.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the situation in California, Gavin Newsom's political ambitions are basically over. Now, granted, the man is a sociopath, so I could see a scenario where, in spite of this going on, he'll try to run in the primary, but I don't think he'll actually win. Because the thing in California alone is just so bad, but he's also very, very unlikable to people who actually know him. And I think it just wouldn't be enough to cross the finish line.
The dude is the lowest form of scum imaginable. Okay, no, that's not true. I don't know that Gavin Newsom has child porn on his computer. That's the lowest form of scum imaginable, so I take it back. Newsom is not the lowest form of scum imaginable. He is the second lowest form. A hypocrite. A filthy, dirty hypocrite. That dude gave an announcement of how Californians needed to use less power and cause less stress on the energy grid while standing in while wearing a fucking long sleeve sweatshirt and hat. Like it was a fucking so it was clearly very fucking cold where he was. The dude comes across like a king of old having a feast in the middle of a famine. Fuck Gavin Newsom, piece of shit.
Yeah, you would know. I figured you would have some words to say with Gavin. You know him better than probably most people in my personal life.
If America is retarded enough to elect Gavin Newsom, America gets what it fucking deserves at that point. America's
Well,
over.
I mean, to be fair, we did avoid Kamala Harris, so I don't think we're that stupid.
Dude, no. Gavin is... Actually, you know what? You're right. We did avoid Kamala, so we probably won't get Gavin Newsom. You have to be
Yeah,
a special blend of retarded to vote for Gavin Newsom.
yeah, but like I said, after the California fires, like even Newsweek was saying, like, yeah, I think his career is kind of torched after this. Like when you get roasted by Newsweek, you know you done bad.
Is Newsweek like really left or something?
Yeah, they claim to be center, but a lot of the reporting tends to slant leftward. So I'll leave it at that. Um, but yeah, and then as the other ones we have, there's a couple of names floating around. There's Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan.
Oh, please
Very
let it be
unlikely.
Whitmer. Please let it be Whitmer, because I want all of America to know that the kidnapping conspiracy was a federal plot. Please, God, let this happen, because it would be so fucking funny.
Wait, so you want Republicans to be another qualified woman for a third time in a row?
Yes, yes, I want it, because then the whole world, the whole of America would know that Gretchen Whitmer's kidnappers were feds. Yes!
You know, it'd be even crazier than Gretchen Whitmer.
What?
AOC.
I could actually see the Democrats doing that, believe it or not.
Yeah, this might be a hot take among some people, but I think AOC has a really good shot of winning the nomination because ever since she got elected in 2018 and became a House member in 2019, she's not really focusing much on her home district. She's actually been running a national brand. Not a bunch of like national campaign, but like a national brand. She's one of the most well-known people in all of Congress, more so than like several senators, and that's saying something. Like she's just a House member, and yet she's more well-known than basically everyone else in the House combined on both sides. That's not an easy thing to accomplish.
Did you know that
But
some of AOC's voters voted for Trump and her at the same time?
yeah, I'm not surprised. But there also in Arizona there were a bunch of like Trump Gallego voters as well. Now some people might be surprised to hear this, but ticket splitting is still very much a thing, even in the deepest red or blue states, right? Just because somebody votes for Donald Trump, that doesn't mean they're going to vote Republican down ballot. And conversely, just because they vote for Kamala Harris, it doesn't mean they're only voting Democrat down ballot. People tend to vote for different people in different positions depending on who they like for certain roles. Especially if the politicians in question have some kind of reputation that kind of speaks for itself. And that can vary from level to level. Like, for example, in North Carolina, Trump won the state, but the guy who's running in the gubernatorial seat, he had some kind of a scandal, and it really hurt his campaign, so the Democrat in that state ended up getting elected instead. And
Yeah.
then in Arizona, we had a situation where Kerry Lake went up against Ruben Gallego, who is basically a communist, but it was able to floor up as a moderate so successfully that people were able to choose him over Kerry Lake. Now, Kerry Lake's career isn't over yet, actually, because Trump chose her to be the voice of America. Basically, what she's going to be doing is running essentially like almost like a TV network type thing, where she'll be like reporting on like stuff in the Trump administration. So that'll be her job for the next couple of years, which I think is actually a good thing because what that means is that it actually frees up Arizona to pick somebody other than Lake to run. Because I don't know what it is with that woman. She just cannot win an election to save her life.
Yep.
Alright, but that's just there. And then aside from those ones we mentioned so far, there's Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. I also think he's a bit overrated because he's one of those guys that just goes against really weak Republicans, and he's never really had a serious challenge. And oddly enough, he was floated as Kamala's VP nominee back when she first took over, but that was before she ended up going with Tim Walz instead.
Is Josh in any way related to Ben?
No, they're both Jewish, but they're not of the same family.
They have the same last name, so I was wondering about that.
It's kind of like saying how what's the name? That George Bush is related to George Washington Bush. Like those are different people.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, yeah. So there's that. There's also Andy Bashir. He's from Kentucky. He is kind of a lame duck too. The only reason he's there is because his father, who was much more famous and more moderate, was the governor, and he basically ran off his dad's name. Then, those are some more. Oh, also, funnily enough, even Kamala Harris has been floated around. Mainly because some people have, mainly because of recency bias, because she just ran, and that typically happens after elections. But I don't think she'll be in the primary in 2028. If anything, I think she'd be far more likely to try and run as governor in 2026 in California.
Yeah, no, Kamala Harris is, I don't think Kamala Harris is gonna run again.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hillary. I think Hillary joked about running once, never happened. Bernie Sanders, he's too old. He's not going to run anymore. I think his best chance to win was probably back in 2016.
Yeah.
And that was about it. Now, if he, I hear now this might be a hot take. I don't know if I said this before. I might have. I'm not quite sure. But I do believe that if Bernie Sanders was able to win the nomination in 2016, there's a possibility that he could have beat Trump and become the president.
Maybe. I think Trump still would have won, but it would have been by a narrower margin.
True, but you do have to keep in mind that when Bernie Sanders lost the nomination, a lot of Bernie supporters went over to the Trump camp.
Did they now?
Yeah, well, not all of them, but a good chunk of them did to where it made a difference in the Rust Belt.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Trump and Bernie, to their credit, they had very similar ideas from an economic perspective. The difference is while Trump focused more on populist, economic policies, Sanders was your typical communist. So they were identifying the same problems. They just were tagged with different angles. There's a Hillary Clinton. She was just being Hillary. So
Yeah, Hillary
there's.
is an establishment gooner. Y'all laugh,
Yeah.
but I mean what I said. Fuck Hillary.
Oh, oh yeah, Hillary's terrible. Don't get me wrong. Like that's why nobody. That's why she didn't win the election. Well, she won the popular vote, but she did not actually win the state she needed to win. Like literally, there were people who wanted to see her in Wisconsin, and she just never showed up in the entire campaign.
You know what I
Like
just
even Kamala.
remembered?
What?
There's an episode of Family Guy where Peter starts writing erotica, and one of the books he writes is Stuff I Would Do Sexually to Hillary Clinton.
Oh, jeez. Don't let Bill find out. You won't live the next day.
Uh, that joke is so much funnier in hindsight, because it's like, why? Why would you write this? Hillary is nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, there were so many people who were so ass mad when Trump won the first time, but this time around, it's nowhere near as intense as it was the first time. Like, the last time he won, there were riots in the streets going on for weeks. This time around, it just kind of went with a whimper.
You think we should be worried since they moved the inauguration ceremony indoors and they have, like, some police forces refusing to provide security to it?
Now, I hadn't heard about the police force part. I know the reason they moved it indoors was because it was just going to be so cold that day that it wouldn't be wise to have it outdoors. Although someone was spreading a rumor that, like, something was going to happen to Trump inside a hockey stadium. I think it was, like, someone claiming, like, a prophecy or something. I didn't look too much into it, but, I would say if you're worried about Trump and you want to make it to Inauguration Day, just give a prayer for him, especially tonight. I think that would be a wise thing to do. We are called to, as Christians, to love one another, and one of the best ways to do that is just to intercede to God on behalf of those who might be in trouble.
Good point. Oh, that reminds me. Did you watch the Harvest Moon stream I was doing earlier today?
I did. I saw the notification. I couldn't attend because I was actually in a workshop.
We raided Trump today.
Oh, you rated the Trump thing on Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I gotta check the thing because I know the inauguration I think is like early in the morning, and I want to be up for that. I want to see that live.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching with great interest.
All right.
Oh yes, that
Okay.
reminds me. I saw Nosferatu this weekend.
Oh, the movie. Yeah, how did that go?
That movie is dark. So
Not surprising.
you
Oh,
know
how did
how
Willem?
in
Oh, by the way, how did Willem Dafoe do?
Willem Dafoe was great as the Van Helsing character of that movie.
Hmm.
But you know how in Dracula they kill Dracula and save Mina at the end?
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, the Mina character, because if you're not familiar, Nosferatu is an unlicensed knockoff of Dracula. The original Nosferatu film was actually ordered to be destroyed as part of a lawsuit settlement between Bram Stoker's estate and the production and the production staff of Nosferatu.
Oh, did they succeed?
Yeah. So most of the copies of the original Nosferatu film from like the 19 whenever it was made were destroyed. Reels of that film are worth a lot of money nowadays. But
Oh yeah, especially when you consider the way movies were made back then.
yeah.
Because they used to be made from mercury, but the problem with mercury was that it was very flammable, so they actually had to destroy the footage because if they didn't, it would essentially cause a massive fire
Yeah.
in the storage facilities. Thankfully, they don't do that anymore because we've evolved way past film. Because first they stopped using mercury in film, and then everything became digital, so everything kind of changed after that.
But yeah, so characters in the story of Dracula have parallels in the story of Nosferatu. In the ending of Dracula, Abraham Van Helsing, Jonathan Harker, and Quincy Morris kill Dracula and save Mina's life. In Nosferatu, your Van Helsing character and your Jonathan Harker character are basically go to Nosferatu, Count Orlok's tomb and stake Jonathan Harker's boss because he was a thrall of Count Orlok, and Count Orlok lays with Mina until daybreak and gets gets fried, but Mina dies in the process because the vampire fed on her.
Ooh.
But there are some scenes in this movie that made me very fucking uncomfortable. You have the gypsies performing a ritual to keep away the vampire, and they have a naked lady on a horse offering to the site as a virgin. I don't know why. I don't know because they stake the corpse. I don't know what the naked lady is for. They staked the vampire. I don't know. Why is naked lady on horseback?
Did they show it uncensored?
I saw a nipple.
Oh, I see. Okay, so far.
Now, she had hair covering her breasts, but I saw a nipple. I definitely saw. And then you have, but that's like shocking and then funny in retrospect. But there's one scene in this movie that just, viscerally disgusting and creepy. Jonathan Harker and Mina. Jonathan is trying to comfort Mina because saying that he'll kill the vampire, that she doesn't need to be afraid of him, and she's like being possessed by the vampire and like and saying, "You sold me out for a bag of gold," and then they start fucking.
What?
Yeah. And she says, "You would never please me like he did please me." And then he starts fucking the shit out of her. And then they do the thing. And I just, why? Fucking why? Who had vampiric possession sex? Why did you write this? That was viscerally uncomfortable.
Wait, so she said I hate you, and then they had sex more? Like what?
Yes! Yes, they did! That is exactly what happened! She said you could never please me as he pleases me, he being the fucking vampire! And then they just fuck! This,
Like, imagine doing the thing with someone. They say, "Oh, you can't please me as the other guy," and then you proceed to keep effing. Like, what?
yeah.
Bro, if that was me, I would stop in the middle. Like, who are you talking about?
Why you stick your dick in possessed lady? Why? I
Well, did she? Wait, didn't she die by having sex anyways? Like,
yes, with the
what?
vampire.
Oh dear.
Yeah. This movie is fucking unhinged.
It just sounds so like bizarre. Dare
It
I
is.
say?
This movie feels like an acid trip. This movie feels like if I was watching Bram Stoker's Dracula while high on pot or LSD. And it's not pornographic. There's no way this is pornographic because this is not meant to arouse. Nobody could get aroused from this. I think the nudity and very bizarre sexual stuff was done with an artistic intent.
Unless you just really prefer it, in which case you might be able to find pleasure from that.
Nah, man, I was a wet noodle. I was a limp noodle the whole time. I'm pretty sure it retreated inwards. Dong was not expanded. Dong retracted.
Retract dog. Ugh. Ugh.
But there's like,
Oh.
I'm just bringing up that's the three. Mind you, this movie was from 11:25 to 2 in the afternoon, so this is a long ass movie, and those are the only three like sexual scenes in there. It's the movie's like really fucking good, really well made, but it has some really off the wall, unhinged, out of pocket decisions made.
Yeah. Well, they're hysterical to look back on in hindsight. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, they really did that.
yeah. I really like these, for whatever reason, I really like the scene where Jonathan Harker escapes Orlok's castle. He's not actually Jonathan Harker, I'm just using the names from the Dracula characters because they're the ones I have memorized. Jonathan Harker escapes Dracula's castle, or Orlok's castle, and he is enthralled because he's been bitten by Orlok. He makes his, he wakes up in an Orthodox church, and they actually nurse him back to health and perform an exorcism on him. It's implied that it was incomplete, but he manages to like stay sane, lucid, and in control the whole movie. After that, after he leaves the Orthodox church, and
Oh, this movie
Nosferatu's.
take place. Did this movie take place in Russia by any chance?
No, it was in England. Though Jonathan did travel from England to the Carpathian Mountains.
Oh, is that where the Orthodox Church was, or was that back in England?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh.
Oh, and then Orlok's whole spiel is that he's been preying on Mina since she was a child. And I didn't see the beginning of the film, but given what I've seen of the film, we can all infer that that Orlok is the lowest form of scum imaginable.
So wait, how did you not see the beginning of the movie? Did you come to the theater late?
Yeah, I was going with a friend, and my friend was late to the film, and eventually I'm just like, ah, fuck it, I'm going in anyway.
Hmm.
They got there like maybe 3 minutes after I did.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Nosferatu's big threat, or Count Orlok's big threat, is that he is going to infest London with a plague, and you see the ship carrying his coffin is infested with rats. The crew all die, and it crashes onto the docks of London. It's a plague ship, and he says, "You have 3 days, and on the 3rd day you will comply with me." And yet, lo and behold, Mina does, and Mina fucking sleeps with the vampire, sleeps with Orlok, and until sunrise, and Orlok burns alive and his curse is lifted, and that's all well and good, but just This movie's fucking unhinged. I love it, but it's fucking crazy.
I mean, to be fair, her sacrifice to the end of the movie did help to destroy the vampire once and for all.
Yeah, I think I like the ending to Dracula better, though.
Yeah. It's better that, like, the world is safe without needless effing.
Yeah. And, well, not only that, but, you know, Mina fucking lives in Bram Stoker's Dracula. And Jonathan Harker, Quincy Morris, and Abraham Van Helsing stake the bastard. But yeah, Nosferatu, unhinged as fuck. I rate it, like, 8 out of 10. The one you want to know what keeps it from being a 10 out of 10?
The weird sex scenes?
That, but also, it commits the cardinal fucking sin that all modern cinema is guilty of. It mixes its audio like shit. There are scenes where it's super fucking quiet, and then loud as fuck. Suddenly loud as fuck. Don't fucking do that, you assholes! Fuck you, Hollywood douchebags. I have eardrums. I would like them to not be blown the fuck out.
How is it that, like, YouTubers and Twitch streamers can mix their audio better than Hollywood?
I don't know. You know what's funny? The Sonic movie does not do that. As I was walking out of the movie theater of Nosferatu, it occurred to me that it's like, hey, Sonic the Hedgehog didn't do that stupid audio mixing thing where it makes things super quiet and then super fucking loud. Everything was consistently one volume. That's nice. I like that. I wonder if Wolfman's gonna be any good.
There's a Wolfman movie coming out?
Yep.
I haven't seen anything about it. I haven't heard anything about it.
Dude, the trailers have been all over my YouTube ads.
Huh, that's me with the Nosferatu film.
Oh, that's so funny. I haven't seen any ads for Nosferatu on YouTube.
That is really fascinating. Well, if I get a chance, I'll take a look at the Wolfman trailer.
Yeah, because what I've seen of the trailers, it looks like the Wolfman has like a wife and daughter, and they are in deep shit in those trailers.
Oh dear.
Yeah. If they're like hiding from him, and he's getting closer. Wolfman is gonna be. Oh, you know what? If they're doing Nosferatu, they're doing Wolfman. I wonder if they're gonna do a Mummy movie.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Ooh, maybe they could do a Swamp Man movie.
Oh, swamp creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't know.
Wait,
I feel like
another tip? Wait, time out. Did Universal distribute that movie? Nosferatu?
Oh, you know what? Good question. Let me check. Nosferatu 2024 film. Directed by Robert Eggers. Based on Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Is that a book?
No, see, that's the original movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Universal distributed internationally, but it was in the US by Focus Features?
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia says.
Oh yeah, but they're owned by Universal, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, so this is a Universal monster movie. And then we got wait a minute. Now we need to know if Wolfman 2025 is a Universal film. Wolfman.
So this is another attempt to bring back Universal monsters.
Well, it's
what I'm guessing.
Well, it's working so far. Wolfman 2025 film. Universal Pictures. Yes.
Wow.
They're doing it. They are doing a Universal monster movie, and it's fucking working. This has been good shit.
Wait, It can't wait. The Wolfman movie's already out.
So it is.
It came out on Friday.
Oh, that's funny. I was at Nosferatu on Saturday.
So you can probably, you know what? If it's still in theaters, you can see it in the review for next week's show.
Yeah, I can go on the. Oh wait, no, not next week. I don't have enough money to go to the movie theater. Maybe on the 31st, I'll go and see it.
Hmm. Yeah, make sure your bills are paid.
Well, I've already paid next month's bills and rent, but the 31st is going to be my last paycheck from Stanford. Now in February, I am expecting a $3,500 check from the Social Security office because it turns out they owe me money.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Some months ago, I got a $3,500 deposit, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I suddenly had like $3,500 in my bank account, and I'm like, what is this? You'd think I'd be happy, but I was not, because I was the owner of mystery money. I could be in a lot of trouble for having that shit.
So you what did you call the office, or what did he say?
Yeah, I called the SSI office, and they're like, we owe you like $7,500, or we owe you like $7,000 or $7,000 some odd $100, and my jaw hit the floor. I'm like,
What?
I'm like, okay, cool.
Wait, so, hold up. What were you taking out Social Security? I'm confused. You're not retired.
No, I'm not. But when I was, like, 18, because I have a disability, Mom had me register for SSI since I was unemployed at the time. And, yeah, I was getting monthly payments from them, and it would, like, 99% of it went towards my rent at the time.
Oh, so you did collect Social Security.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't even get it that early.
Yeah, if you have a disability, you can.
And you were not in college by that point.
No, I was actually. This was going on while I was in community college, and because I was receiving SSI, my tuition was $15 a month.
Well, that's why it got cheap. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, I remember. Did you finish community college, or did you kind of stop?
No, I dropped out. I dropped out and became a security guard.
Oh, that's right. That's how it all started. Oh yeah, how come you haven't gone back to security work then?
Because it pays like shit.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Micah did the same thing. He dropped out and ended up working at insurance.
Well, I imagine insurance pays a bit better than private security. Private security fucking sucks. I liked doing what I was doing, but they did not pay me enough to put up with the bullshit.
Nah, they gotta raise their wages. Security ain't what it used to be, I'll say that.
Yeah. I still can't believe the whole Universal Monster thing is working out.
Again, this is like what, their third attempted reboot?
Yeah. Although
like they had one with like the Mummy film, then that got failed after one movie, then they had the Invisible Man, that didn't go anywhere, now we have this.
Third time's the charm, I guess. And then I'm still reading through Shadow of the Conqueror. I'm getting close to finishing the book. I'm at the part where Dalen has started traveling with the two Archknights in his group now. It's not just him and the Lightbringer anymore. And the scene I was on as I was driving home from church was the scene where Dalen starts breaking down because he snapped at Lyra, which Lyra was one of the girls that he coerced into sleeping with him when he was the emperor. And so it's like he's been living with like the guilt of what he did for years, and you know, because the light made him young again, he's been like, everyone's like, oh, this is the Conqueror's son, when in fact no, it's the same dude. But yeah, that scene is like rough. It's like because both Lyra and Dalen are just going through it. They both are like sobbing. Lyra because of her trauma, and Dalen because of the guilt.
So wait, so if I recall correctly, so Lara's now his caretaker? Is that right?
In a sense, yeah, yes, actually, she gains custody over him at the end of the book after his trial. Right now, she's just following him around, making sure he doesn't abuse his light binding powers, because it's the same powers that the Archknights have.
Ah, but he's
Yeah.
not training with them.
No, he's not. He's not an Archknight right now.
I see. Ooh, I have an update in the Wolfman movie. So, funnily enough, remember the Dark Universe I talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Well, this movie, this reboot, was supposed to be a part of that continuity. But
Oh.
after the failure of The Mummy, they decided to make standalone movies. And then after the success of The Invisible Man, they that's when they got interested in doing monsters again, and that's how we got this Wolfman film.
Interesting. Oh yeah, did you see, I'm not, it turns out that Chad, the author of Shadow of the Conqueror, is a Christian. I don't know if you saw, but I reposted, a post he made on Twitter the other day, and he was basically saying that Christians should not be so quick to condemn people and for degenerate or sinful behavior, and instead not judge them. You know what? Actually, fuck it. I can't do the thing justice. I'm gonna just read it verbatim. I'm not surprised to learn that Chad is a Christian, just given the way he wrote Shadow of the Conqueror, but it's cool to get confirmation.
Mm.
Here we are. Um, It's becoming more and more evident recently that many Christians, including myself, could understand this statement better. Neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more. Calling people losers and gooners for what you perceive as sinful is condemning and attacking them. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam of thine own eye. Jesus Christ did not call upon us to attack or condemn others for their sins, but called on us to love all men and invite them to come unto Christ. I think we can get lost in our desire to stand up for Christ and his commandments, and forget his example in not condemning people for their sins. Indeed, the people Christ more openly condemned were the moral Puritans of his day, who would condemn others to be seen as more virtuous. Woe unto you, hypocrites, for ye have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. Woe unto you, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup, but within are full of extortion and excess. Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. I'm not saying people are condemning others for their own vanity. I think it's coming from a sincere place of devotion to Christ, but that they are forgetting his mercy and understanding. Neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more. The idea that attacking people for their sins is a manifestation of tough love is asinine. If you truly loved them, you would be trying to connect with them, not push them away or make them see you as their enemy due to personal attacks. This will only make them hate Christ and Christians in general. Sin is our enemy, but the people who sin are not. If your actions in fighting against sin causes you to attack people in a misguided sense of tough love, you have failed as a Christian. I have failed at this many times and will try to do better. Condemn sin, not sinners. We are just imperfect as anyone else, and need the grace of Christ just as much. Do not condemn people for sinning differently than you do. Doing so will only push people away from Christ and see Christians as puritanical busybodies that are arrogant in their own moral superiority. For he that forgiveth not his brother his trespasses standeth condemned before the Lord, for there remain in him the greater sin.
Mm.
This is an incredibly base take from Chad.
Fascinating.
And then he also did a 33-minute video breaking down like the fine line between art and pornography.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Where were we again?
Oh, we were talking about the Dark Universe.
Oh yeah. It makes me
Specifically,
it makes me wonder what else they're going to come out with for the Dark Universe.
well, I know with the Dark Universe, they had several films that were planned, but because of the failure of the Mummy, they were all scrapped. Like, there was going to be a Phantom of the Opera movie in this continuity. They're going to do Hunchback of Notre Dame. Uh, and then, of course, The Invisible Man, which we got later, but that was a standalone thing.
Right.
Uh,
Man, Phantom of the Opera, that movie is so fucking boring. I can't
hmm.
stand Phantom of the Opera. I fall asleep whenever I try to watch it. Hunchback of Notre Dame, though, that's interesting. I didn't expect that to be a Universal film.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, we've been at this for an hour. Do we want to call it here?
Yeah, we can call it here.
Alright. We're gonna find somebody who's live that we can raid. Our raid message is going to be... all good things come to an